Hey guys, my name is Manuela and I'm here to talk about a few things I learned as a healthcare student in uni. So one of the key things I learned was about building relationships with your course mates while you're in uni. I think a lot of people underestimate it, especially if you're coming in first year, you're a bit shy. You're not always going to think about, okay, how many people can I get to know? You're just going to be thinking about how can I get in and out of this lecture really quickly. But one key thing is building relationships, and it really helps with your coursework or exams or anything you may have. You're always going to be able to go back to those people, not even go back, but as you've built that relationship, they're always going to be there and you can actually get work done together. And that's one of the reasons why I was able to do well in uni. It was because of the relationships I built from first year all the way up to third year. Another thing I learned in uni was the power of LinkedIn. So whilst in uni, as a lot of people were doing, I was looking for internships, I was looking for any help with experience in my course. And what I ended up doing was actually going on LinkedIn and messaging a lot of healthcare professionals. So these would be managers, lab assistants, and I got a response from a few of them. I messaged loads, so you have to be really patient. I messaged about probably 50 and I got a response from maybe 5 to 10, so it really varies. But at the end of the day, I managed to get an internship at Oxford University, and that was just through the power of me continuing to look for people who are willing to offer me advice and opportunities. Another reason why that's a really good option is because as a student in a healthcare, everyone is looking for work experience. I think everyone knows that in the hospital, it's mostly packed with students doing experiences, internships, especially medicine students. So it's hard for some other courses like maybe pharmacology, biomedical scientists to get into there as well. So that's why I think LinkedIn is such a good place, because you get such a wide scope of professionals all in one place that you can just keep messaging and asking for opportunities and advice. And that is, for me, one of the best places to find it. Another thing about building relationships that I learned is that it's also key to build them with those who are better than you at certain subjects within your course. So for me, I'm not that good at maths or chemistry, and so that's where I made the strongest friendships, so I could get help with those areas, and then also I could help them in the places where they might have struggled, like biology. I also believe my internship was a good addition to my CV, and that might have been what allowed me to get into universities like UCL, because I was able to take that advice or that initiative to go out looking for internships, and I actually managed to find a good one. Some of the challenges I faced as a uni student was procrastination, was managing my time, because I think when you're in education, before it, you're always like, okay, I can do this, I can do this assignment, this course. But when you get into it, sometimes you may just feel like, I don't want to do it anymore. But then you can't because you have a deadline. So that was some of the stuff I struggled with, because I'd been in for so long. It was mostly in my third year that I felt these kind of feelings of procrastination and stuff. And it was because at this point, I was tired of uni. But what helped me through was, again, those relationships that I had built prior. If you do things as a team or as a group, someone's always going to have strength when you don't. Or even if you all don't have strength, you all still know that the end goal is to pass uni, it's to finish well. And so that's what helped me. The relationships I had built actually built me up in the times where I may not have been as strong as the start of uni. So during sixth form, I actually initially applied to study medicine and biomed. So I had both of those on my UCAS unis as my applications, and then with my results I got B, D, D. I studied biology, chemistry and sociology, and so I actually didn't get into any of the unis I applied for. I think it was just one I got into, and it was biomed, but by that time I was thinking that maybe biomed wasn't for me, and I actually got in, so I could have stayed there, but in the back of my mind I was thinking everyone at the time did biomed, so I wanted to do something different, and that's where I ended up in clearing. And so I tried to search for different healthcare subjects, because I think as a sixth former or as a young person, the only jobs you really know are doctors, pharmacists in the healthcare sector. That's really all you know, sometimes not even biomedical scientists. And so when it got to the point of me having to actually look deeper and look at different courses within unis, that's where I found pharmacology. And pharmacology, I learned it was about drugs, how drugs affect the body, how the body reacts to drugs. And I just found that to be an interesting subject. And I'd never heard of pharmacology before or studied anything about drugs, but I read it and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. So that's why I took pharmacology. And now at the end of it, looking back, I'm really happy I did, because I've loved the learning, the teaching content, everything about it. I've had a really good time on the course, and now I'm able to go on to something else that's quite new, medical affairs, that I believe I'm gonna like as well. So medical affairs is more towards the management of medicines and bringing them to market. So I'll be learning about the life cycle and the development process of these medicines. I'm gonna go into the commercialization, the marketing, phase 4 clinical trials, and just looking at how all these different sectors come together to produce a medicine. It's also going to go a bit into law, looking at what allows a medicine to be approved in certain countries or to certain specific people with different defects. The course is also going to cover the national and international standards of releasing patient safety data, looking at the supply and sale of it as well, and looking at all the regulations that will allow for a patient to access these medicines. My advice to anyone wanting to follow in my field or study pharmacology is to just not be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask the questions you need to ask. Don't be afraid to go into different areas that you feel like you want to go into, because I feel like in my course I've learned that a lot of people, including myself, can be afraid to take those next steps, or can look at others and think, oh, I'm not going as far as them or as fast as them, or oh, their position looks more important than mine. But I would just say, take your time and push as hard as you need to get where you want to get to, because no one else is going to do it for you. So you have to take that initiative, especially in an area like pharmacology, where it's not exactly like maybe medicine or whatever may sound more flashy to people. But in whatever area you choose to specialize in, just go with everything you have.